Pablo Escobar is often quoted as saying, "The only man I was ever afraid of was a woman named Griselda Blanco," highlighting the deep respect and fear he had for Griselda Blanco's prowess in the narcotics trade. Griselda Blanco Restrepo, born on February 15, 1943, and passing on September 3, 2012, was a notorious figure in the drug trade, mainly involving cocaine, within Miami from the 1970s to the early 2000s. Her involvement extended to alleged connections with the Medellín Cartel. Blanco's life ended through assassination in Medellín at the age of 69. Restrepo's journey into the underworld began in Cartagena, Colombia, where she was born. She relocated with her mother, Ana Restrepo, to Medellín at the tender age of 3, a move that immersed her early in a life shadowed by crime, as Medellín was grappling with its complex mix of socio-economic and political challenges. According to Charles Cosby, a former intimate partner of Blanco, she engaged in her first criminal act by allegedly abducting and attempting to ransom a child from a wealthy area close to where she lived when she was just 11 years old. An encounter that ended tragically. Before reaching her teenage years, Blanco had already turned to pickpocketing. At 19, seeking refuge from her mother's boyfriend's sexual advances, she left home. She survived on theft in Medellín's urban heart until she was 20. While there are suggestions that she might have turned to prostitution during this period for financial reasons, Blanco herself refuted such claims. By the mid-1970s, Pablo Escobar, along with the Medellín Cartel, had overtaken the Cuban mafia as the primary force in drug smuggling through Florida, particularly establishing cocaine distribution networks that funneled into the US via Miami. Utilizing small aircraft, the cartel would drop 40 to 60 kilograms of cocaine weekly over the Everglades, amassing about $8 million monthly from these operations. Miami's geographical proximity to the Caribbean and its prevalent Spanish-speaking environment made it an ideal center for cocaine smuggling activities. By 1981, Miami had become the main gateway for 70% of the cocaine and marijuana entering the country, along with 90% of the counterfeit quaaludes circulating within the United States. Key figures in Miami's drug trade at that time included traffickers like the Falcon brothers, Sal Magluta, who collectively smuggled cocaine worth approximately $2 billion from Colombia, alongside notable names from the Medellín Cartel, such as Rafael Cardona Salazar, Carlos Leder, Mickey Monday, John Roberts, Griselda Blanco, George Jung, Barry Seal, and Max Mermelstein. A significant portion of the drug trafficking operations and meetings took place in Coconut Grove's mutiny at Sailboat Bay, serving as a notorious hub for these illicit activities. During this era, Miami witnessed a surge in violent crime, largely due to the escalating drug trade disputes within the city. In the year 1979 alone, Miami recorded a staggering 349 murders. It is widely believed that Griselda Blanco played a significant role in the surge of homicides in South Florida from 1979 to 1981. With suspicions pointing to her involvement in at least 40 murders and potentially being linked to up to 200. Jorge Rivi Ayala, a hitman working for Blanco, admitted to 3 murders in 1993, although he is suspected of committing approximately 36 murders throughout the duration of the drug wars. Blanco played a pivotal role in forging the cocaine trafficking route from Colombia to major cities in North America, including Miami, New York, and various locations in California, amassing a fortune of $80 million monthly through her extensive distribution network. Initially, Blanco and her first spouse, Carlos Trujillo, embarked on a venture into the marijuana trade in Colombia. Following their separation in 1964, Blanco, using forged documents and an alias, made her way into the United States, eventually settling in Queens, New York, with her 3 children and new husband, Alberto Bravo, who was involved in cocaine smuggling with the Medellín Cartel. Together, they established a flourishing narcotics operation in New York City. However, By April 1975, law enforcement had caught wind of Blanco's activities, leading to indictments for her and 30 associates on drug conspiracy charges, prompting their flight back to Colombia to evade prosecution. Later in the 1970s, Blanco returned to the US to initiate another drug operation, this time in Miami. Blanco's arrival in Miami marked the onset of an era riddled with violent disputes and a significant increase in homicides, hallmarking the infamous Miami drug war of the 1980s. During this period, cocaine overshadowed cannabis in terms of profitability and trafficking volume. The relentless efforts by law enforcement to curb cocaine trafficking in Miami led to the formation of CENTAC 26, Central Tactical Unit, a collaborative effort between the Miami-Dade Police Department and the DEA to combat drug operations. On February 17, 1985, Blanco was apprehended at her residence by DEA agents and faced charges for her involvement in the cocaine trade, specifically for conspiracy to manufacture, import, and distribute the drug. Her trial took place in a federal court in New York City, leading to a conviction and a 15-year prison sentence. During her incarceration, Blanco was indicted on 3 more counts of murder in the first degree in Florida. The state's case heavily relied on testimony from Jorge Ayala, a hitman closely associated with Blanco, who was prepared to testify against her, claiming she had ordered the murders. Nevertheless, the case fell apart due to procedural issues linked to inappropriate communications between Ayala and secretaries from the prosecutor's office. Blanco later entered a guilty plea to 3 counts of murder in the second degree in 1998, receiving a concurrent 20-year sentence. Health complications arose for Blanco in prison, including a heart attack in 2002, attributed to her smoking habit. By 2004, Blanco's deteriorating health condition led to her compassionate release from prison in the US, followed by her deportation to Colombia. On September 3, 2012, during a visit to the Cardizo butcher shop located at the corner of 29th Street in Medellín, Blanco, accompanied by her pregnant daughter-in-law, was fatally shot twice by a motorcyclist as she was leaving the establishment. This method of assassination, carried out from a motorcycle, echoed the very tactics Blanco was notorious for employing during the height of the Miami drug war.